Question number 23. Question number 23 is based on debit note and credit note. So debit notes and credit notes is given by supplier to recipient. So debit note is issued whenever the invoice value increases, that is actual value more than invoice value or actual tax more than tax as per invoice. Whenever there is a decrease in the invoice value or actual tax is less than tax as per invoice, then in that case a credit note will be issued. So whenever credit note is issued by supplier to recipient, so there is a time limit for issuance of credit note. The time limit for issuance of credit note is 30th September of the succeeding financial year or date of filing annual return, whichever is earlier. That is the time by which a credit note is issued. What will happen if a credit note is issued? If a credit note is issued, that will be reported in GSTR1 by the supplier. Consequently, in GSTR 3B, the liability of that supplier will come down. Okay, so that should be reported in GSTR1 and that liability will come down. Suppose if the time limit crosses, can we issue a credit note? Yes, but that credit note is not a credit note under GST. That is a general credit note as per accounting purposes. And moreover, one more point also you need to know. So credit note can be issued under section 34 of GST only if the full amount along with the tax is refunded. What if the tax is not returned to the person? So, but the person has the incidence of tax, then you cannot give a credit note. You can give a credit note under accounting, not for GST purpose. Okay. So, this question is based on that. A Limited, a GST registered supplier, manufacturer, has supplied goods under cover of tax invoice 20,000 plus 5% GST. Tax invoice is dated 30th August 2018 and has been reported in the return file for the month of August 2018. Okay, what shall be the GST treatment in the following situations? So, if the invoice is pertaining to August 2018, what is the financial year? Financial year is 2018-2019. So, which means, so we can give the credit note maximum by 30th September 2019 or date of filing annual return, whichever is earlier, not before that. Okay, so that's a not after that. Here it is December 2018, goods are returned by the recipient. Yes, we can give a credit note in case of sales returns and supplier returning the full amount of 21,000 to the recipient. Then in that case, the credit note can be issued under section 34. Consequently, the supplier's liability will come down. Okay. Then suppose if it is B, goods are returned by the recipient in December 2018, again within the time, and the supplier returning amount of 20,000 only to the recipient. So supplier did not return full amount, supplier returned only 20,000, means still 1,000 rupees burden is there on the recipient. Now can the credit note be given under section 34? No, the credit note can be given under accounting purposes, but this particular credit note cannot be reported in GSTR1. Consequently, liability will not be reduced. Okay. Then number C, point C, goods are returned by the recipient in Jan 2019. Is it within the time limit? So yes. So because September 2019, 30th September 2019 or date of filing annual return, whichever is earlier. So therefore this Jan 2019 is on time. So then supplier returning full amount. Yes. So now in this case in Jan 2019, we need to report that credit note issued under section 34. Consequently, the supplier's liability will come down. Whereas point D, so goods are returned by the recipient in Jan 2020 and supplier returning full amount of 21,000 to the recipient. Now in this case, so even though full amount is returned to the recipient, but a credit note cannot be issued because the time limit for issuance of credit note is 30th September 2019 in the absence of annual return. So 30th September 2019, but here it is Jan 2020. We cannot issue a credit note under section 34. Maybe an accounting credit note is issued, but this 1,000 rupees reduction in liability is not possible. Okay, so that is how a question could be tested on credit note. Okay. Clear? Now, what's your query? Consolidated tax invoice. Consolidated tax invoice is actually given in section 31 subsection 3. Section 31 subsection 3 clause C. Clause C. Okay. 31 subsection 3 clause C. Clause A is revised tax invoice. Clause B is bill of supply. Clause C, that is less than, low value supply, less than 200.